paranoia is in bloom. The PR transmissions will assume they'll try to push drugs to keep us all dumbed down and hope that they will never see the truth around. Another promise, another scene, another package lie to keep us trapped in greed. Another green bells wrapped around our minds, an endless red tape to keep the truth confined. They will not force us. They will stop degrading us. They will not control us. We will be victorious.
Hello, everybody. This is an impromptu show. Let me just click on Rockfin and get this going. Oh, great. I have the hiccups. So last night I got a call from Rich. He's one of the reporters on News Nation, who I've literally been trying to get to pick up my recording for 2 months. And I got a call from him last night that said, they did want to finally use some snippets of my recording. And I've talked about it numerous times, but for those who don't know, the recording is me, Jenna, and an East Palestine resident, Christina, in the office with Mark Durno, who is the East Palestine, Ohio EPA dolt. And we went in his office and I recorded a 91-minute discussion of him saying some pretty fucked up shit. And Ohio does have a one-party permission rule. So, sorry, not sorry, Mark. So I'm going to be showing, with the help of my comrade Matt, some clips from today's coverage of the tape and also an article that came out about it. So I gotta say, for 2 months, I've been sending this clip and like a synopsis of the recording and an outline and a transcript to literally dozens of news outlets, magazines, newspapers, and nobody fucking wanted it. It has been the biggest hassle. And finally today, I got some relief because News Nation has over 1 million followers, and they finally aired it. And not only did they air it, they had Queen Erin Brockovich on to address what some of the clips that were played. And oh, wait. Yes. So first we will show the article that was on the clips on my tape that they played on News Nation today.
All right. So this is an article by Rich, like you mentioned. It was last updated this morning. It says EPA official says agency made mistakes in East Palestine. EPA official says the agency waited too long to test the creeks near East Palestine. Both Ohio senators have called for indoor testing of residents' homes, which is really important. And government watchdogs are not satisfied with the EPA's response. And here's a nice big photo. This photo was taken with a drone at midday on February 4th. This was after they lit it on fire.
Yep.
So here we go. An EPA official says the federal agencies should have tested the creeks near East Palestine sooner following February's toxic train derailment, according to an audio recording obtained by News Nation. That's you, Joy. Mark Durno says, I will be first to acknowledge that we waited way too long to do the assessment of the creeks. Mark said this to a Pennsylvania resident, Joy Marie Mann, who recorded their conversation at the local EPA headquarters. I love it. And let me see. On the recording, Durno, who was speaking in his personal and not official capacity, makes a number of troubling statements regarding the federal response. Just 3 days after officials burned 116,000 gallons of vinyl chloride over East Palestine, the EPA assured residents it was safe to return home. So that just 3 days later. But soon after, community members started reporting strange illnesses. And that's a link to another article. I'm not going to click it now, but there are a bunch of them. So when asked whether he sees a correlation between the illnesses and the EPA's all clear decision, Durno can be heard on the recording. This is just an opinion. This is way out of my lane. My position on it is I do believe that some of the ongoing health concerns are from early exposures, either that weekend or that next week. I do believe that probably is happening. As for the groundwater, he says it appears to be safe for now. And here's what he says. I am 100% confident in the groundwater. I am not saying I am 100% confident in the groundwater in 10 years, Durno said. That's so fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, you guys feel free to look at my Twitter or Facebook or something and see the water currently as of today and tell me if you would drink it. Because people even stand by it and they get sick.
Yeah. Yep, they're all trying to pretend it's not happening. Makes me sick. However, he also acknowledged the testing limits are high, which means chemicals detected below those levels may not show up. He says, we are testing for full scan TLP analysis for volatiles plus other contaminants. And like I said, most of the results we have are non-detect. We can't even see them, the analytical cell. The analytical methods don't go down into parts per quadrillion, he said. Okay. So the EPA recently ordered Norfolk Southern to do more cleanup in the creeks and is requiring the railroad to conduct a comprehensive investigation of oil-contaminated sediments. So they're ordered to do an investigation in order to determine if more cleanup is necessary to ensure any potential long-term impacts are addressed. And it says here in bold, Ohio train derailment cost Norfolk Southern nearly $1 billion so far this year.
Yes.
Okay. That's all right. So it goes on to say the order came just 3 weeks after a News Nation report showed the rainbow sheen in Leslie Run. This is what you were talking about, where you can just walk up to the creeks and you can see the rainbow sheen. It's still there more than 8 months after the incident. And it says both Ohio senators have also asked EPA Administrator Michael Regan to approve testing inside people's homes. But when asked about indoor testing, Durno said it's complicated. And you'll hear this on the clips here in a minute, but he goes on to say that there are lots of chemicals in people's homes that have nothing to do with the train derailment. If we go in there and start sampling people's homes, we're going to see those other chemicals, and people are going to ask, why are these chemicals in my house? Which they should be asking those questions anyway. But so then it says Leslie Pacey, an investigator with the Government Accountability Project, is not satisfied with the EPA's response. They say these are not acceptable answers from the EPA, an organization that's entrusted to protect the health of the community and that has the money and the manpower to do so, she said.
And
Pacey,
what org is she from again?
she's with the Government Accountability Project.
Okay.
Sounds good to me, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a whistleblower.
Okay. And it says that Pacey has listened to the full audio recording and says that the EPA's tactics seemed aimed at not finding the truth and not revealing the truth to the public. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's good. And she says, it's just really shocking to hear these things and very concerning because the EPA's job is to take care of the environment and human health. And it sounds like they're not really sure they did that based on what they're hearing now with these health symptoms, she said. And it goes on to say, Stephen Lester, who is a science director with the Center for Health, Environment, and Justice, agrees with her. He thinks the EPA is failing its core mission to protect public health. They're not doing that in East Palestine. They're not doing that to protect somebody, I believe. I don't know who, but it's certainly not to protect the community in East Palestine, he said. And for residents, the stakes couldn't be higher. People are really sick there, and I think the EPA understands that, Pacey said. Why they haven't done the testing that they need to do and inform the public about what's going on is the real question. And the article ends with the EPA declined News Nation's interview request and did not comment.
Look, I'm going to be straight up. I didn't think they were going to comment, and I'll tell you why. Number one, Mark, I guarantee this was 2 months ago. He doesn't even remember what the fuck he said to us. I can guarantee you he doesn't. He speaks so much bullshit to everyone 10 times a day. He doesn't fucking know. He's going to have to listen to the whole recording and then come back with his political bullshit, trying to rationalize, trying to say, oh, well, that was taken out of context and blah, 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 even though I have the whole fucking thing.
Yep,
91 minutes.
You posted the whole thing. No
Yep.
edits. So
Nope. So he could say whatever the hell he wants, but I'll tell you one thing. There are clips of this that are going to be used in lawsuits, and I am so fucking happy that, me, Jenna, and Christina were in there, and we were like, yeah, so let's go hard or go home. And, Mark Durno, he agreed to meet me on a Sunday night. He said, yes, we can meet tomorrow, because I said I'm from Harrisburg, PA. And I'm still in the area tomorrow. I would like to meet with you. And I told him I'm a journalist and things like that, but I also wanted to meet with him on a in the respect of being friends with so many of the residents and being an activist. He said, sure, email my, I'm not sure if it's secretary or assistant, and we'll set it up for tomorrow. I did. She requested I send her a list of questions that I was going to ask her now. I don't fucking do that. In over 6 years, I've never fucking done that. I don't prepare people for what I'm going to ask, because then it's contrived. I mean, this isn't fucking MSM. Like, I'm going in there, and I didn't have questions written down.
It's an actual
I just went
interview.
in there, and none of us did. The three of us, me and Jenna or Christina. We just went with a conversation. What came up, that's what we asked. It was that simple. That's how it was. And so I was like, I just got back and I was like bullshitting. I was like, I'm going to ask him what the EPA has done, what they think, what he plans to do, just total bullshit, which I was going to ask, but not in that way. And she ghosted me. I texted Mark back. He ghosted me. So I was like, okay, guys, let's just go in. He said he'd meet with me, so let's just walk in. So the beginning of the video is just Jenna has my phone on my tripod and her tripod, and we're just and Matt, who's the voice behind the curtain, he was there, and Christina and little 4-year-old Edward. And we just went in, and I was like, "Hey, Mark, you said you'd talk to me today, and I'm still in town, and I'm leaving tomorrow morning early, so let's have that chat." So we just cornered him. And then he was like, "Turn the video off." I was like, "Okay." But he never asked us if we were recording once we went in the office. So, oops.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, that's what, and I think it's the stubbornness in me and Jenna, and the outrage that we were just like, we're still going, like, we're here, we don't live here, we have an opportunity. He said he's gonna meet with us, let's fucking go. We weren't gonna pass that up.
Yep.
We'll just confront his ass. And every time he tried to get us to leave, we just kept talking. It was one of those things where we kept talking like all the way to the door. We're still talking. And he's like inching us closer to the door. And like, we just kept going. And, then we're pointing at maps on the wall, and we're like talking, and he's just like more and more uncomfortable. And then, the second we went outside from the office to the sidewalk, Jenna said, Jenna said that when Mark came out and he walked the other way, he then turned around and went back in his office. He was just doing it so he would lose us, which is
I love
just,
it.
I mean, that's my kink, man. Making, just absolute trash people feel uncomfortable, like that is a feeling like no other.
Yep.
Do you want to show the first clip from today?
Yeah, I'll show the clip from News Nation.
Three weeks after our story aired about the chemicals in the creeks here in East Palestine.
This is just upstream from where I did this in February. It's now September. Let's see what happens here. Yikes.
The EPA has now ordered Norfolk Southern to do more cleanup and more investigation, requiring, quote, comprehensive investigation of oil-contaminated sediments in the creeks, with results to, quote, determine if more cleanup is necessary to ensure any potential long-term impacts are addressed. And now, an audio tape discussed at a recent public meeting with community members is raising more questions about the EPA response here. News Nation has obtained the audio recording of a conversation between a nearby resident and Mark Durno, the EPA official in charge in East Palestine. In the recording, the EPA official, speaking in his personal, not official capacity, makes a number of troubling admissions. He believes the EPA waited too long to test the creeks for chemicals.
And I'll be the first to acknowledge it. It's taken way too long to get that assessment.
3 days after officials burned 116,000 gallons of vinyl chloride over East Palestine, the EPA gave the all clear that it was safe for residents to come back to town. On the recording, he's asked if he sees a correlation between illnesses in the community and that decision.
Do you feel that maybe some of these illnesses are from the early lifting of the evacuation order when it was still?
So I believe that the illnesses, and this is just opinion. This is way out of my lane.
That's kind of what.
This is just a group of people talking around the table, right?
Right.
My position on it is I do believe that some of the ongoing health concerns are from early exposures, either that weekend or that next week. But I do believe that probably is happening. Yeah, I do believe that some people that are having health issues probably was due to exposures early on.
He appears to say that groundwater is safe for now.
I'm 100% confident in groundwater. I'm not telling you I'm 100% confident in groundwater in 10 years.
And that the testing limits are high. In other words, chemicals detected below those levels might not show up.
Like you said, most of the results come back non-detected. You can't even be analytical. You can't even see them in the analytical. So, the analytical methods don't go down into those parts per quadrillion range. I think what you're saying is, could there be combined low-level exposure of some sort with all these contaminants? And Again, technology is not there to show that.
Recently, both Ohio senators asked the EPA head, Michael Regan, that the EPA test indoors inside people's homes. When asked about requiring indoor testing, Durno says it's complicated.
There are a whole lot of chemicals that are in people's homes that have nothing to do with trend drop. We go in there and start sampling, we're going to see it. And, I assure you, the next, once that data is present, why are these chemicals not?
These are not acceptable answers from the EPA, an organization that's entrusted to protect the health of the community and that has the money and the manpower to do so.
Leslie Pacey is with the Government Accountability Project, a nonprofit advocacy and whistleblower protection organization. She's listened to the entire conversation.
It sounds like their methodologies are aimed at not finding the truth and not revealing the truth to the public. It's just really shocking to hear these things and very concerning, because the EPA's job is to take care of the environment and human health. And it sounds like they're not really sure they did that based on what they're hearing now with these health symptoms.
Stephen Lester with the Center for Health, Environment, and Justice agrees.
Something is driving the EPA away from its core chores and responsibilities and mission. And, their mission, if you go to their website, is to protect public health. They're not doing that in East Palestine. They're not doing that to protect somebody, I believe. I don't know who, but it's certainly not to protect the community in East Palestine.
I asked the EPA for a fresh interview or for comment today. They declined on both fronts. Interesting to note, Norfolk Southern reported their quarterly financials today. To date, they've spent almost $1 billion here on cleanup.
Okay, so a few things on that. Okay, so I have stated numerous times I am not a resident. And I have stated numerous times that particular recording, that voice is Jenna. That is not me.
Okay.
And as much as I love seeing a picture of the back of my head, it's frustrating to me because,
yeah, you almost have to make these clips in-house somehow. You can't.
Yeah, and I mean,
giving this over to other people, they're going to mess it up.
And I texted him, like 2 hours ago, and I said, I'm just really disappointed. I said, what's done is done, but and then, saying I'm a resident numerous times, that really bothers me because I'm not. I don't want to take that, that credibility. I'm not. I'm just someone who was concerned, who went in there.
Yeah.
So it just bothered me. And then the next clip you'll see with Erin Brockovich, they don't even mention my name or anything. They're just the clip. And I'm like, huh? And this was a couple hours after this one. So I'm just so I shared my my disappointment in that as well. But I mean, at the end of the day, I have to be so fucking relieved that after 2 months of harassing dozens of journalists, it's finally fucking out there. So I'm hoping, knock on wood, that now that a few clips are out there, I'm hoping maybe a few other people might want to know what else is on it. I don't know, but all I know is that Durno knows it exists, and that makes me happy.
Good.
So the next clip, unfortunately, News Nation, I gotta say, they do some great work, but something that's really frustrating with them is they don't put everything on YouTube that they put on the TV. So this Erin Brockovich video, I knew, like, I filmed both segments because I didn't know what they'd put up and what they didn't. But this is my filming my TV because that's the only way we're going to get to see it again. That's it, because they don't put it online. So
yeah, I noticed that it's kind of hard to get News Nation content.
yeah,
I
mean,
don't.
I
My TV
understand
doesn't get it.
it's 24/7 content. Like, I understand it'd be difficult, but like a lot of channels do have 24/7 coverage. So like, even if they just had their channel, you know, do just like what is on TV, you know, a lot of people don't have cable. So
Yep.
yeah, so I'm glad I recorded this myself because we're never gonna see it again. So this is Queen Miss Erin Brockovich.
Before the break, we listened to that exclusive audio recording of a local EPA administrator in East Palestine, Ohio, admitting there had been missteps in the cleanup following that train derailment nearly 8 months ago. We're now going to continue our coverage by talking with an environmental advocate whose name is very well known. Erin Brockovich joins us right now. Erin, I just got to ask your reaction to that recording in Rich's package just now.
Wow, I'm glad I actually had a little break before I came on because I found it really frustrating. I didn't know if I should be outraged, if I should laugh, or if I should cry. And outraged I am. Laugh I would only do because I think somebody finally got caught in this state administration who's been covering this up since day one. And I cry for the people because they're still not being told the truth. I think it was a very cowardly position that he took to do that away from the public with just a few and not stand up there. For God's sakes, would somebody please do that for the people of East Palestine and tell them the truth? Yeah. This is health and welfare at stake. So I found that video, that audio, disturbing.
Yeah, when he says it's just us, right? Talking around the table, he clearly doesn't know he's being recorded, and he clearly doesn't want his remarks to go any further. There were two big headlines that he said there. Number one, let's do them one by one. The first one is that they gave the all clear too soon. 3 days after that train derailed and they burned that vinyl chloride, they gave everybody the all clear to go back home. He now says that was too soon.
That was too soon. That was a huge mistake. That was an open burn of unknown chemicals that they still don't even know what the chemicals are or aren't. I think that they're not looking for some chemicals. I don't think they're following the appropriate protocols. They know that. But they should have never allowed a community to come back in after a disaster like that without knowing full, good, and well what the circumstances were or weren't. That was one of their first major failures, in my opinion, and others that they made.
And then the other,
too soon.
Right, and the other headline that he says in this recording that the EPA waited too long to test the creek in town for contamination after the train derailment. Erin, our own reporter, Rich McHugh's been there for months. He was just there 3 weeks ago stirring that creek up. You can still see that opalescent film. We're showing video of it right now. I mean, it's clearly contaminated.
You know, it's been that way since day one, and I was out there in the very beginning, and even I and other reporters, you could smell it. Your eyes would burn, and you would have rashes, itchy skin, a plethora of things were going on. So from the get-go, but you know, Elizabeth, this is something that really irks me, and I don't know any other word to say to you other than irks me. I've been doing this for 30 years. And this is the same behavior in our environmental disasters that happens over and over and over again with agency failures, failure to respond, failure to be transparent, failure to be honesty with the people, and failure to protect the public health and welfare, the very job that they're supposed to be doing. And this is truly a definition of either insanity or stupidity. Because for 30 years, these agencies were watching it play out live. You're showing it of what they do to, and the lengths they go to cover up environmental disasters, what the real chemicals are, and what the future outcome is going to be for the people, their families, and their children. I just cannot believe that we are still acting this way in this country in 2023.
Yeah, I was really bothered by something when he said, "Oh, I think the groundwater's okay right now, but ask me again in 10 years." What is he talking about there, Erin?
Because these contaminants, so what they did, in the get-go is I'd like to still know who gave the all clear to blow up those rail cars. They were busy for days building a big open hole or trenches, if you will, to bleed rest of the chemicals out into that ditch. We don't even know what those chemicals were. And then they had the bright idea to set it on fire. Well, that turned bad. So as the water and these chemicals in this trench or hole seeps into the groundwater, it takes time for chemicals to move with the water. So you won't know the immediate impact of what a groundwater plume will or won't be for potentially years. So this site, at a minimum, needs to be monitored for probably the next 25 to 50 years.
Wow. All right. You've been to East Palestine many times. You've talked to residents who are experiencing some strange and odd symptoms. What are they telling you? And and by the way, that's how you gained fame, That's how you became famous, was by knocking on doors and asking people and connecting the dots that, hold on, you've got cancer and you've got cancer, and wait a second, what's the common denominator here? So what have you found personally in East Palestine going door to door?
Well, I'm afraid they're being set up for exactly what it is I did out in Hinckley and continue to do in many communities where we come into after the contamination, years into the future, to find out that these chemicals are correlated with their health impacts. And I worry for this community. I just got off the phone with one of the community members this morning who's at the hospital because they're dealing with this unexplained, what they smell, the shakes, they feel like neurological problems, their hands are shaking, yet they can get no answers. And one of the ginormous issues here is the fact that we, or whoever the powers to be, whether it be the company or the polluter or our agency, doesn't listen to the people. They've been out there screaming and upset, looking for help, looking for the truth. I'm sick, I have rashes, we have nosebleeds, we're starting to have shakes, we have unexplained headaches. What's happening to us? And even the CDC, who pulled some of their workers off because they were getting exposed, won't come forward. My gosh, if you don't know, you need to tell this community you don't know. Otherwise, they're sitting ducks. And I don't want them to sit there and think that the agencies are going to come save this. That's just not what's going to happen. So I cannot share with you enough how disturbed I am as the person on the ground for 30 years that this type of oversight, regulatory failure, lack of transparency, and flat out lies is happening to communities when it is their life at stake. It's BS.
Erin Brockovich, your passion really comes through. Thank you for speaking out on behalf of the residents of East Palestine. You've been there a lot, and for advocating for them and getting answers. Good to have you on the show. Hope you'll be back.
Thanks. Thank you for keeping this story alive.
You bet. All right. Coming up, former President Trump is called to the witness stand in his civil fraud trial and ends up storming out of the courtroom. We'll have the story next.
This is so exciting to me. Like, Jenna, fucking Erin Brockovich is talking about the shit we are exposing. That's fucking amazing. That is so cool because she has a huge voice and she's been, like she said, 30 years, man. She's been on this shit. And don't forget, she is one of 4 lawyers of East Palestine Justice. They have an office right next to where we did the Lisburn rally. It's literally across the street. They opened up an office, so it's Erin and 3 other lawyers, and they're working exclusively on East Palestine cases. And they will be using excerpts of this tape for lawsuits. And that's fucking huge. That is huge. What's that?
This is the East Palestine Justice website.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I talked to them on Facebook several times, like in Messenger. But yeah, like yeah. So yay. I'm proud of us, and I love the fact that Mark is probably crying in the fetal position. Like, honestly, you should have been more careful, because what's interesting is that Christina, the one resident who was literally in there with us, had already secretly taped him, and he found out. So, like, the same person was in the fucking office, and you didn't say, is anyone recording? Dude, that's on you. That's on you. You are not just a regular person. You're a representative of something that's supposed to be helping people's lives. And if you think that we're gonna, you're not gonna be tape recorded, at least some of the time, oh my God. So Christina, we walk out of his office, okay? And Christina goes, I'm so sorry you didn't get anything for your show. I was like, I got it all. I mean, granted, it's on my crotch, but I put a picture on it. And then Jenna's like, I can't believe you didn't fucking record. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course I did. I just lied and said I was turning it off. Of course I fucking did. My fear was, oh my God, if my phone dies, I am going to flip my fucking shit. But I purposely tilted my phone towards Jenna twice to see if she could see that it said live in big red. And she didn't notice it.
Okay.
But I was like, maybe it's better she didn't, because what if she said, oh, good, you're recording or something, just subconsciously. But yeah, it all worked out. Take that, Mark. Fuck you. So yeah, do you mind putting the article link in the comments? That way Jenna and others can have it.
Yeah.
Which it has the first clip in it, and then also some more quotes from the recording. Oh, I was like, what? Oh, that's me? Okay. That is an imposter. You are not Savage Joy. So I realized after I scheduled Elias for Friday that I have Halloweener plans, because it's Halloweener, my favorite time of year, obviously. So
what are you dressing
Friday
as?
show. What's that?
What's your costume?
Do I want to say?
You don't have to say.
It's Dia de los Muertos. It's
cool.
Yeah. So it's gonna be kind of fancy. So well, essentially it's Frida Kahlo, but I can't do the unibrow, so because of my glasses. So it'll probably just look like Dia de los Muertos. So that's what I'm going with.
Cool.
What are your kids dressing as?
Elsa and Spider-Man. I don't know. There's 3 kids. I don't know what they're doing.
That's why I'm
doing Batman again.
too.
I'm Batman.
What are you dressing as?
Batman.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm the Batman.
Yes. Which one?
Christopher Nolan. Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, Christopher,
Christopher. It's not Nolan.
Christian
Somebody else?
Bale.
Christian Bale.
He's the best, aside from Michael Keaton. But yes, he is the best. Can you do his voice?
No. Maybe I could now that I'm sick. I can hit that lower register.
Yeah, now that you're sick. Batman. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I love Halloweener. But you guys, thanks so much for watching. I have so many guests lined up. Like, it is bananas. I have like so many. Yeah. So the next at least 2 to 3 weeks are just going to be like a lot of shows, which I'm excited about. So smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, smash the share button, and thank you all so much for tuning in. And also buy me a coffee, Savage Joy Marie Man. If you have a few bucks, it helps. But otherwise, I will see you Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern for Postmortem Breakdown with Andrew. All right. Thanks, guys. And thanks, Matt, for your assistance.
No problem. Good night, everyone.
Good night.